Dr. Aurelia Varga was the sort of professor who frightened and beguiled her students in equal measure. She spoke 8 languages, carried an ebony walking stick engraved with hieroglyphs, and was rumored to have resigned from 3 European universities after pedagogical disagreements. When she unexpectedly appeared on the spring course schedule at Caledon University, Introduction to Immersive Linguistics, field-based limited enrollment, 27 students petitioned for the 12 open seats. Only 7 of us made the final list. We met her in person once before the field component. She swept into the fluorescent basement classroom in a burgundy coat, switched off the lights, and projected a slide that read, "Only this. Immersion demands consequence." Then she issued the course rules. 1. We would live, study, and sleep for 1 long weekend at an off-campus location that she alone had secured. 2. When she introduced a key word in the target language, every student must repeat it in unison, correctly, the moment she pointed to them. 3. Electronic devices were prohibited. "Your ears are smarter than your thumbs," she said. 4. Participation was irrevocable after the first key word. She handed out non-disclosure forms, the kind used in corporate labs, not lecture halls. I hesitated, but curiosity and a generous extra credit promise overcame common sense. We signed. Friday afternoon she loaded us, May, Connor, Sasha, Dev, twin brothers Luis and Gabriel, and me, into a white university shuttle. The driver accepted her sealed envelope and avoided eye contact the rest of the trip. Rain mottled the windows while highway monotony surrendered to suburbs, then to forest, then to nothing but mist and half-collapsed barns. "Is anyone else getting cult vibes?" Connor whispered. His jokes were armor. He was, like all of us, both thrilled and unnerved. "Trust process," Dr. Varga said from the front seat without turning. "Language is less about meaning than metamorphosis. Metamorphosis rarely feels safe." No one replied. After 2 hours, the shuttle nosed up a gravel drive and stopped before a Victorian mansion rotting at the edges of a cliff above the Haddison River. 3 stories, wraparound porch, boarded windows. The iron gate bore the name Windermere House, in letters feathered by rust. I'd heard rumors. An industrialist family, tragic disappearances, foreclosure decades ago. Local kids dared each other to break in on Halloween, but said the doors were always chained. Now the chains were cut. Inside, dust lay like snowfall over furniture still arranged for a dinner party that never happened. Footprints in the gray powder told us we were the first to breach the quiet in years. Yet the chandeliers blazed to life when Dr. Varga flicked a switch. "A temporary generator," she said, answering nobody's question. She handed each of us a small bound notebook, handmade from rough brown pages. One page already held a single printed word in bold Latin script. "Ambarcare." "Your first key," she said. "Pronounce after me." She spoke it slowly. "Ambarcare." We repeated, slightly ragged. The moment our voices met, a low groan rolled through the entrance hall, as if the house inhaled. I felt wind at my back. The front doors slammed themselves shut, deadbolts twisting with metallic finality. Connor tried a handle. Locked. "Participation is now irrevocable," Dr. Varga said, unperturbed. "Begin linguistic immersion." She led us room to room, describing historical context, etymological roots, and phonetic subtleties of a language none of us recognized. It sounded vaguely Romance, with hints of Basque harshness and the lilting vowels of Occitan. Whenever we seemed comfortable, she paused, wrote a new word on the chalkboard she'd hung in what was once the music room, and made us repeat it. The second key, Caligore. The third, Venori. With each repetition, some part of the mansion changed. After Caligore, the windows shuttered themselves from the inside, wooden slats scissoring down like eyelids. After Venori, the fireplace in the parlor ignited, though no one had laid wood or match. By twilight, we'd learned 7 keys. The house was sealed tight, The generator gone silent, though the lights strangely remained lit, powered now by an unseen source. I tried my phone, though I knew it was forbidden. No signal, no battery reading. May's laptop, hidden in her backpack, wouldn't boot. Dr. Varga gathered us at a long mahogany table in the dining hall. A catered meal awaited, bowls of stew kept warm on silver burners, fresh bread, apricot tart. Hunger drowned caution, and we ate while rain hammered the roof. Midway through dessert, she tapped her stick for silence. You have noticed the interactivity. Each lexical acquisition negotiates with the house. She allowed herself a thin smile. You think the house obeys me. The truth is subtler. The house responds to the words, and the words respond to you. Tonight, we proceed to narrative application. She wrote the 8th key on a card and slid it to the center of the table. Apparator. The present perfect tense, she said. Repeat, and do listen carefully to the result. We spoke the word. The chandelier dimmed to a throbbing ember. The corridor doors creaked, opening onto darkness. Footsteps sounded, heels tapping wood in measured sequence. A woman emerged, or something wearing the memory of a woman. Flapper-era dress clinging to a body too pale, eyes black as moons eclipsed. She glided to the table, the smell of river silt following her. Sasha gasped. Projection? No, Dr. Varga said softly. She is an apparition, bound by the key and by this location. Observe. The woman touched the back of Connor's chair. Her fingers left condensation like breath on glass. He froze. The apparition lifted a phantom champagne coupe, made a silent toast to absent listeners, then recoiled as if slapped and vanished. A faint slap did follow, long after she'd gone, echoing as if down a cavern. Dr. Varga regarded our panic as a mechanic might study malfunctioning gears. Windermere House contains unresolved narratives, unsolved murders, if you prefer the sensational term. Each linguistic key unlocks a chronological fragment. They cannot hurt you if you do not interfere. You will merely witness. Merely, Dev said. That's a corpse that forgot to lie down. She was not a corpse in 1929, the professor corrected. She was Lenora Windermere, last hostess of this estate. She disappeared during a New Year's masquerade. Never found. Now she reappears whenever a parator is spoken in the correct accent, as we have done. Gabriel stood. We are leaving. You cannot. The doors answer only to the final dismissive key, which we have not yet uncovered. Anger died in his throat. Fear replaced it. The storm outside deepened, as though agreeing with Dr. Varga. She dismissed us to bedrooms on the second floor. Hallways seemed longer than geometry allowed. Each painting's eyes followed like spilled ink. In the room I shared with May, faded wallpaper peeled to reveal older, darker wallpaper beneath, patterned with foreign script we had just started learning. We did not sleep long. At 2:17 a.m., a bell chimed 19 times, though we'd seen no bell before. We gathered in the hallway where Dr. Varga waited, candle in hand. Another key awaits, she said, voice hushed as the flame. Progress requires nocturnal diction. And what if we refuse? Luis wanted to ask, but Lenora's black orbit eyes lingered fresh in everyone's mind. The 9th key, negotium. We repeated it, throats dry. Immediately we heard men shouting downstairs, a brutal punctuation of fists on flesh. Dr. Varga ushered us to a balcony overlooking the parlor. Below, 2 men in 1940s suits fought beside the cold fireplace. A third, thin and trembling, held a revolver. He fired. Flame blossomed inside the gun's cylinder, though no bullet emerged. Still, the tallest man clutched his chest, bloodless but fatal. The victim collapsed, staring up at us as if through time, then dissolved into nothing. I recognized the youngest gunman from aged newspaper photos I'd once browsed, Robert Windermere, Lenora's nephew, who allegedly shot his father in this very house during an argument over inheritance. The body was never found. Charges dropped. Dr. Varga spoke into our silence. You see how language can compel testimony. The house cannot lie when addressed correctly. You said they can't hurt us, Sasha whispered. She was crying. But did you see his eyes? He saw me. The reenactments are reflexive, not sentient. Think of them as phonological fossils. How many murders? Connor asked. 14 officially, she said. Possibly more. Windermere blood is old and troublesome. Nobody wanted a 10th key, but dawn arrived and with it coffee and cinnamon bread, tempting anchors to ordinary life. Dr. Varga resumed instruction as though yesterday's ghosts were slides we'd already moved past. She taught grammar, declensions, conjugations indicating witness status versus participant status. Bizarre categories I'd never seen in any Indo-European language. Another rule: mispronunciation could distort the reenactment, producing anomalies. She did not define anomalies. Before lunch, she announced practical assessment. You will each, individually, approach a locale tied to a recorded disappearance. Speak the supplied key, transcribe observations. I will monitor from the foyer. Remember, correct pronunciation is your shield. Gabriel refused outright. We're done performing for you. Her eyes narrowed. You may withdraw academic pursuit, but the house will not release you until the final key is spoken. Better to proceed methodically. Luis squeezed his brother's shoulder. We'll go together. She considered, nodded once. Paired observation acceptable. The rest of us paired as well. May with me, Connor with Dev, Sasha alone by choice. She said she needed to prove to herself that bravery existed. Dr. Varga distributed index cards, one per pair. Ours read Funestare. Location, attic servant quarters. Don't butcher vowels, she warned. The house dislikes negligence. We climbed rickety stairs, smelling of moldy linen. The attic door stuck, opened only after we leaned together. Dust motes floated like plankton in sepia light slanting through a cracked skylight. Ready? May asked. Not really. We spoke. Funestare. Silence. Then the room shivered. Across from us, a young maid materialized, braid trailing down her uniform. She knelt by a trunk, stuffing handfuls of jewelry into an apron. Footsteps on the stair, she started, slammed the trunk, but too late. A shadowy figure entered and struck her with a candlestick. She fell without a sound, but kept breathing. The attacker, face obscured, wrapped a bedsheet around her neck slowly, mechanically, until she stopped breathing. He dragged her body toward a crawl space and vanished. I felt like vomiting. May scribbled descriptions with a shaking pen. The air rippled. The attic's present returned, minus the people. We hurried downstairs to meet others. Gabriel and Luis emerged from the ballroom pale as winter. Connor and Dev stumbled from the library. Connor's arm dripped blood. What happened? I asked. Glass cabinet exploded when we said the word wrong, he muttered. Tiny cuts freckled his skin like red confetti. So much for ghosts being harmless. Sasha had not come back. Dr. Varga's calm fractured at last. Which locus was she assigned? Dev unfolded Sasha's dropped index card. Desolatum. Location, basement cold room. We followed the professor to a locked door beneath the grand staircase. She produced an antique key and descended first. Brick walls, dripping pipes, old coal smell. The cold room's iron door stood ajar. Inside, Sasha knelt, head bowed, hands over ears. Around her lay spectral figures, men and women in various epochs, all on their knees, whispering in languages I couldn't catalog. They circled her like a living rosary. Dr. Varga inhaled sharply. She mispronounced. She summoned an anomaly. Help me, Sasha whispered. Her eyes were white, no pupils. Voices leaked from her mouth in multiple pitches. The professor stepped forward. Silence them with the corrective form. Repeat after me. Desolati Maris. But when she tried, Sasha shrieked. The specters swooped at Dr. Varga. passing through her body like windstorm through leaves. The professor staggered, aged before our eyes. Skin sagged, streaks of gray frosting her black hair. Gabriel hauled Sasha out. The figures receded, merged back into walls. We fled upstairs. In the foyer, Dr. Varga caught her breath. The house grows impatient. We are close to the dismissive key, the clausura. I planned full curriculum, but Sasha's error accelerated consequences. What does that mean for us? May asked. It means the house may enforce closure by other means, total integration of participants. We must complete the lexicon first. Luis barked a laugh. You still think like a professor. This is survival now. Dr. Varga's walking stick cracked against the marble. Do not imply I disregard your lives. I have spent 20 years deciphering this language because I believed giving voice to the silenced would free them and us. But the process appears messier. Sasha slept on a couch, face returned to normal but breathing shallow. We debated calling police, yet no phones worked, no windows budged. The mansion existed beyond mundane jurisdiction, so we continued. The next key, Redemir, spoken collectively in the winter garden, produced a scene of a 1902 wedding rehearsal turning to stabbing when a jealous ex-fiancé crashed the party. Key after that, Exilir in the nursery, calling forth imagery of twins, 8 years old, poisoned by an uncle who'd embezzled their trust. Every reenactment felt more vivid, their boundaries thinning. Cold seeped into our marrow. Voices grew audible outside trigger words, murmuring down hallways. By midnight Sunday, we had accumulated 17 keys. The house trembled, floors warping like breathing. Dr. Varga believed the clausura would be the 18th, a sacred number in certain mystic traditions. She had located a hidden study behind the library containing a desk carved with the same script as our notebooks. Within a locked drawer, she found a parchment, brittle but intact, listing words we recognized and one final unknown. That is it, she whispered. Devolvere. We say it and we go home? Connor asked. In theory, the script marks it dismissive, yet doubt coiled behind her eyes. We assembled in the grand hall, lights flickering, wind roaring though no window opened. Sasha, pale but conscious, stood supported by Dev. Dr. Varga raised her candle. Flames guttered sideways as if gravity bent. Repeat exactly, devolvere. Our voices joined. For a heartbeat, nothing. Then locks sprang open. The front doors yawned to moonlit drizzle. Relief washed me until the chandelier shattered overhead, glass petals exploding outward, carving the air the way the cabinet had carved Connor. We ducked. Shards sliced Dr. Varga's cheek. Behind her, something emerged, a composite figure of all we'd seen. Lenora's eyes, Robert's trembling hand, the maid's braid, the twins' solemn faces, fused into a single entity taller than any human. It spoke, not aloud, but inside bone. Language is debt. You collected testimonies but offered no atonement. Dr. Varga stepped forward. I offered voice. Voice without verdict is vanity. It reached toward her. She lifted her stick, began to speak another word, perhaps to command. Too late. The entity poured into her like smoke into lungs. She convulsed, fell. When she rose, her pupils were black voids. I remain, she said in a resonant chorus of many throats. The house requires witness to stay. We ran for the exit. A gale slammed the doors shut again, bolt sliding. Walls bled water. Portraits peeled themselves free, drifted like kites. May grabbed my hand. Pronounce the dismissive imperative case, she said, recalling grammar Dr. Varga had drilled. Change heir to ito for direct command toward multiple entities. Devolvere became devolveto. I shouted it. Others joined. The entity writhed, cracks spreading through its patchwork body. It shrieked. The sound of every key we'd spoken reversed at once, an intake of syllables. Floors stopped shaking, chandeliers reignited. The front doors unlatched with a sigh. Dr. Varga lay motionless, free of possession but clearly dying. She smiled faintly. "Correct. Imperative," she whispered. "Well done." Luis tried to lift her. She pushed his hand away. "Go. You're coming," Gabriel insisted. She shook her head. "House keeps its steward." Realizing argument was futile, we obeyed her final assignment: survive. We crossed the threshold. Dawn stained the sky mauve. Behind us, Windermere House exhaled a plume of dust, then settled into silence. The university shuttle was still parked where we left it, keys in ignition. We drove, soaked in shocked quiet, until bars returned to our phones and the world's banal signals reclaimed us. Back on campus, rumors flared. Missing professor, abandoned field trip, improbable but untestable. Our notebooks? Blank except the first word. The others had vanished from pages, and try as we might, from memory. Only fragments remained like dream objects: apparitor, funister, divol. Something. Without full lexicon, we could not reproduce events nor prove them. Weeks later, I toured the language wing and saw new flyers. Introduction to Immersive Linguistics. Visiting scholar to be announced, field-based, limited enrollment. I tore down every copy, but I know the university will print more. Windermere House stands empty on its cliff. Yet perhaps not empty, merely paused, waiting for tongues eager to speak keys they never dreamed could cost a life. I still dream in that unnameable language. When thunder rattles my windows, I wake with a foreign word on my lips, a word I cannot fully recall. I fear the day I pronounce it correctly.